Hello everyone, Darko 2012 here with Global Government News, and I am reading a horrific article titled Intel Chief Al-Qaida likely to attempt attack. So yes, my dear friends, it is true. I'm not saying I was right, I'm just saying that I've been saying over and over again, this is the year of false flag terrorism. And so here we go, just weeks after the UK raised their terror threat to severe based on no actionable intelligence that there is an imminent threat. They just pull it out of thin air saying that this is a good time for Al-Qaida to attack. So here we go. Al-Qaida can be expected to attempt an attack on the United States in the next 3 to 6 months, senior U.S. intelligence officials told Congress Tuesday. The terrorist organization is deploying operatives to the United States to carry out new attacks from inside the country, including clean recruits and negligible trail of terrorist contacts, CIA Director Leon Panetta said. The chilling warning comes as Christmas Day airline attack suspect because he hasn't been charged yet. Umar Farouk Abdulmutullab is cooperating with federal investigators, a federal law enforcement official said Tuesday. And that's, of course, because he was basically sent to infiltrate real militia groups trying to keep foreign occupiers out of their country, and he was trying to infiltrate them and get intelligence from them. And that's why everybody was like, no, he was over there not really going to school. He didn't even go to school at all. He was just kind of keeping to himself and whatnot. And what I think is that he was basically just with his handler, and that he was with militia groups trying to gain intelligence. And the sharp-dressed man that escorted him, I'm talking about Abdulmutullab, the underpant bomber, was escorted by a sharp-dressed man, which has now come out officially, but unofficially, by eyewitnesses, that everything that they've concluded based on their experience with officials, U.S. officials, and how they've been treated, and these are, mind you, lawyers who run a practice, who are very credible people, who, said, why don't you just look at the videotape in Denmark and maybe we can help you out. Well, you can look for yourself and see this sharp-dressed man. But of course, they looked through 200 hours of video and they never found anything. So, but everything points to this sharp-dressed man who escorted the underwear bomber onto the flight in Denmark as a U.S. government agent. So, of course, the CIA is going to know that there's an imminent attack because they're going to be carrying out the attack against their own fucking country. And it's fucking sickening, okay? It is sickening to read this because I've already stated how many times now that they're going to do this in 2010 so that they can go into Yemen, so that they can crack down here in the United States, keep these body scanners going, and so they can justify all the other measures that they're just waiting to do to take away your liberties. So please, people, for the love of God, don't buy this horse shit, whatever they pull, all right? Whatever happens, like I said, there's going to be something big in the United States. I've already said this. Please watch my videos previous to February 2nd, 2010. Because I said something big is going to happen inside the United States, and possibly more than likely in the UK. But we're looking at another 9/11 type event, either way, in the UK or the United States. Because, to be honest with you, the New World Order is behind schedule. And the only way to push forward is to keep doing what they've been doing ever since the attack on the Maine, ever since the Gulf of Tonkin, where Lyndon B. Johnson, our president, allowed ships to be attacked when we could have helped save them. Just like we allowed NORAD to stand down and allow our Twin Towers to be attacked. This is all horse shit, and I'm sick of it. The annual assessment of the nation's terror threats provided no startling new terror trends, of course, but amplified growing concerns since the Christmas Day airline attack Patsy in Detroit that militants are growing harder to detect and moving more quickly into their plots. The biggest threat is not so much that we face an attack like 9/11, it is that Al-Qaida or Al-Qaida is adapting its methods in ways that oftentimes make it difficult to detect. It says several senators tangled over whether suspected terrorists should be tried in civilian or military court. And of course they want to go into military court because they have no rights, they have no due process, they have nothing. And then they will turn that on to right-wing extremists, like they have jihadists in the Middle East. Now it'll all be domestic terrorists, and then it'll switch to right-wing extremists, right? People who respect the Constitution, who don't respect anything as far as nation building or our own country carrying out intelligence agencies carrying out attacks against their own country in order to keep nation building and keep cracking down on the police state and to divert the people's attentions away from their economy and the terrorist attack that was carried out on our economy, on our U.S. dollar. So, of course, they want to go into military court, and that's what the whole thing was when this happened. They want military tribunals, people, and that's going to be a big deal. That's what they're trying to push, so that when U.S. patriots defend against this rogue government that is basically trying to globalize us to extinction, they can try us with no due process, with nothing. And they'll have their own little gitmo in Illinois where they can torture us and just until we just give and submit and tell whatever lies and confess to whatever actions we never did or things that we never said in order to just not be tortured anymore. This is the world that we live in, and this is the government that, quote, represents us. At the same time, a group of bipartisan lawmakers introduced legislation that would force the Obama administration to backtrack on its plans to try September 11th defendants in federal court in New York and use military tribunals instead. As Al-Qaida presses new terror plots, it increasingly is relying on new recruits with minimal training and simple devices to carry out attacks. Panetta also warned of the danger of extremists acting alone. It is the lone wolf strategy that I would pay attention to as the main threat to this country. Of course, they're talking about people not like me. I wish I was as important to be a lone wolf. It just gives them an excuse for why they won't prevent the next terrorist attack that they carry out, because they'll just whatever happens when we get attacked by our own intelligence agencies, who allow these people to come, who they train to carry out these attacks, then just remember, problem, reaction, solution. What's going to become of this terrorist attack? What are they going to call for right after? Because right after they'll be, oh, but what if we did this, or what if we didn't have that? So let's see what they offer. National Intelligence Director Dennis Blair said, with changes made since the December 25th attack, U.S. intelligence would be able to identify and stop someone like the Detroit bomber before he got on the plane, but he warned a more careful and skilled would-be terrorist might not be detected. FBI Director Robert Mueller defended the FBI's handling of the Detroit attempted bombing attack, disputing assertions that agents short-circuited more intelligent insights from the Nigerian suspect by quickly providing him with his Miranda rights to remain silent. Mueller was asked by the Senate Intelligence Committee of Dianne Feinstein whether the interrogation of Abdulmutullab continues despite the fact that the suspect has already been read his legal right to remain silent. And they replied yes. Mueller said in case after case, terrorists have been provided actionable intelligence even after they were given their rights and charged with crimes. Mueller said they know such cooperation can result in shorter sentences or other considerations from the government. In other words, they use them to gather intelligence, much like Abdulmutullab was already doing. So they're just going to keep using him as an intelligence gathering agent of the government. Hundreds of terrorist suspects have already been convicted in several federal courts, including convicted shoe bomber Richard Reed, which that was also most likely a patsy. But Senator Lindsey Graham offered a bill Tuesday that would prohibit the government from using Justice Department funds to prosecute suspects charged in the September 11 attack in civilian courts. The move comes on the heels of the Obama administration, and you can watch the rest of this. Just check this out. It's pretty much done.